What's good, y'all? It's your boy Havoc. Final round. We got Rolly versus Tank. Little film study going on. Let's check it out. Rolly trolled us initially in the beginning rounds because we all thought he was going to come out swinging for the fences, lunging like he usually does. But he actually comes out fairly disciplined. He's trying to control the distance with his jab. He's staying within himself. But ultimately, class tells over time, and Rolly reverts to what he is and what he does and gets caught with a big left hand lunging in. But let's check it out. Tank controlling the distance very well. It's amazing how well he controls distance. Being an undersized fighter, he gets extra credit for that. Undersized fighters like Lomachenko or Tank, or I remember watching Mike Tyson back in his prime, those guys get extra credit. I love small fighters who can box very tactically. It's very difficult to do so. If you ever sparred or competed, you know it is not easy competing against bigger, rangier fighters. But right here, Rolly goes down to the body, catches Tank with a jab. Tank comes back with a cross to the body. That's how you know Tank is thinking very intelligently. He's like, I got tagged to the body. I need to match his body attack at all times, or even double up on it. Good cross by Tank. And Rolly trying to go back downstairs to the body with his jab, but very risky thing to do with Tank, because if you go, being the taller, rangier fighter, if you're reaching down like that, you might get caught with something from a fighter like Tank, who's very talented physically and athletically, has phenomenal reflexes and phenomenal timing, and then he has power. That's a very risky thing to do, so I can't blame him for not staying consistent down to the body. That's very difficult to do, and on top of that, Tank's a very short guy. That's a hard task to keep up with the power, the speed, the reaction, and the size of Tank makes that very difficult to do. But I appreciate the effort from Rolly. Now, Tank, he's going to be fighting off the back foot. He's looking to walk Rolly into a big shot. Set up a trap, use Rolly's reckless aggression and his momentum against him, and run him into a wall, essentially. Great cross to the body. One of the things Tank is going to do in this fight is he's going to slowly wear down Rolly with pot shots to the body with that left hand, and it starts to take effect, and I would say in the middle rounds, or somewhere around the 4th or 5th round, where Tank starts picking up the pace. And Tank does a phenomenal job of really changing up his exit strategy, like you see there, when he gets trapped in the corner or the ropes. Because Rolly wants to come out. He's trying to cut off the ring. He's trying to put pressure. He's trying to force Tank's hand, being the undersized fighter, to come to him so he can reach. But Rolly doesn't quite have enough in his arsenal to execute that game plan. One thing that he fell short with is he doesn't really have a left hook. Didn't really throw a left hook in this fight. Beautiful caught Tank with a big right hand there. Tank did not like that. But that's what I love about Tank. It's very reminiscent of Terrence Crawford. You hit these guys, they're like rattlesnakes. They get pissed off and they bite back. So I like that attitude by Tank. He gets tagged, and it just makes him hone in and focus him more and pisses him off. But he's moving around the ring brilliantly. Good ring awareness. He could get to the center of the ring, be a little bit more efficient in the way he does that. Like right here, he should immediately get back to the center, but instead he gets trapped in another corner. But he does a great job of mixing up his strategies, getting out of the corner and the ropes. Let's see what he does here. He's trapped in a corner. Good job. He ducks under and kind of shrugs Rolly off. Okay, Rolly's coming again, trying to put pressure, trying to keep that lead hand on Tank. Let's see what Tank does when he gets caught up on the corner of the ropes. Okay, good. He throws an attack, changes it up. First he shrugged, now he threw a left hook to the body. Nice way to slow down Rolly as the fight goes. There he feinted and then threw a jab, got some real estate back, so he half-stepped forward, got back to the center, as you see right here. Okay, Rolly's putting a little bit more pressure. Let's see what Tank does here now. Nice, he pivots out. So, see, you saw 4 different strategies 4 different times. You didn't see the same thing. A lot of guys will just pivot out all the time and be predictable, or they'll try to clinch, and right here Tank tries to clinches. Now every once in a while you're gonna get caught up in exchanges like that, sloppy exchanges, because you only have so many options and you can only get so creative. But Tank does a good job of mixing it up nonetheless. And he's just controlling distance phenomenally. And I love how Tank is very calm. When Rolly's putting that lead hand out there, he just catches it. He just taps it with his lead hand. He paused it. Okay, touch, touch. He doesn't. A lot of fighters get a little panicky and anxious when they have, especially when it's a southpaw versus orthodox, when the opponent is throwing a jab or a lead hand out there that's constantly busy. You saw with Usyk versus Joshua. Joshua got very uneasy when Usyk started doing a lot of lead hand play, you know, circling, tapping, shooting, you know, mixing it up. Lots of varieties. And Anthony Joshua kind of panicked a lot. And, you know, he would overreact to Usyk and, you know, be very fidgety. But Tank does a good job. He's like, okay, you can throw that lead hand. I'm just going to tap it down lightly, tap, tap. And I'm actually going to use that to find my distance, okay, and see where I'm at in space. I'm not going to freak out. Good left hand by Tank right there. Rolly actually doing a good job of cutting off the ring and putting pressure, but it could have been more effective, like I said, if he had a hook in his arsenal. He didn't really throw one, you know. It would have been just enough to kind of mix it up. And because he didn't have a left hook, because he's not feinting and kind of keeping, and boom, beautiful. Tank kind of walks back into the corner and walks Rolly into a left hand. Now that kind of grazed Rolly. It didn't land flush, but that's the left hand that Tank is going to be looking for all night long. And how Rolly didn't pick up on that, I don't know. But Tank knows this guy's going to go and revert back to who he is, lunging in, throwing punches, being super aggressive. And he's going to use that momentum against Rolly. And that's essentially what's going to create the knockout power. See, it's not just the power of Tank. Really, it's the timing. It's just phenomenal timing by Tank when he gets this knockout. And reaction. Good feint. Look how Tank feints to create some space. Okay, he's controlling distance, half-stepping his way back out. Okay, now he's shuffling, going out to the left. And being the smaller, undersized opponent, he's moving towards Rolly's power hand at times. That's very impressive because he understands the positioning battle and how to do that. That takes a very skilled, intelligent, high IQ'd fighter to be able to walk out towards the power hand in a southpaw versus orthodox matchup. And Tank trying to get some respect here. Rolly's getting a little too confident. Tank trying to... And you got to give Rolly some credit for cutting off the ring, considering he wasn't really landing his jab. Good pivot and hook by Tank to get his back off the ropes. But like I said earlier, Tank, one thing he's going to need to improve going forward, if he's going to deal with pressure like this, he might deal with the similar pressure like this from Ryan Garcia. I think Ryan Garcia will be able to bring a bit more to the table, and Tank looking for that big left hand again. Putting a little pressure on Rolly, settling down, being a little bit more comfortable in that pocket. Right there, he just decides to pull back, though. Rolly's got some power, so you got to respect him. Tank looks for that left hand again. Now, look right here. Look how controlled Tank is with his footwork. Look how he tries to stay right on the edge of the pocket. Not jumping out every time. Good feint by Tank. You know, those feints by Tank keep Rolly guessing. You saw Rolly lunge right there, and he gets countered with the left hand. Good jab to the body by Tank. Those pot shots will catch up to Rolly eventually and make him a little bit more timid, because when you wear an opponent's body down like that, you're not as anxious and as eager to be offensive. Good, once again, good pot shot to the body by Tank. And look how Rolly steps back so like overreacting to Tank's attacks or feints. He jumps like 2 steps back, like right there, boom, not good. And then Tank is smart enough to understand, okay, well, if you're going to give me all that real estate, I'm going to take it from you. Now I'm going to force you with your back to the corner and the ropes, and I'm going to put a little pressure and make you feel a little anxious. And when you're overthinking mentally and you're, you know, or you're dealing with that mental pressure, that can be a factor in wearing you down in terms of your cardio just as much as physical contact by hitting your opponent down to the body or something. Mental pressure is real. It can wear you down just as much as physical pressure. One sec. Rolly coming back out, trying to put more pressure. The thing is, you know, he should have threw more feints. That way, Tank wouldn't be able to guess when he's coming in with an attack, or make it a little bit harder for Tank to guess when he's coming in with an attack. He needed to be more consistent down to the body, and he needed to be more patient. Ultimately, patience is a virtue in this game of boxing, and it's a real good attribute to have. And that's one thing that I'm very impressed with Tank in his last few fights and how he's evolving as a fighter is he's showing lots of patience, man. And you're gonna need that when you go up against the, if he ever does, the Haney, the Garcias, Lomachenko, or Shakur Stevenson. The patience is going to be a huge factor because you don't want to get too eager, too emotional, throw yourself out of your game plan. Because essentially that's what happened to Rolly. He got too emotional, he got too eager, he lost his patience, and then he reverted back to who he was. Tank never lost composure in this fight. And controlling distance very well here. Tank feinting, keeping Rolly guessing, when am I coming in? And not really using his lead hand too much. Strikes with the left cross, pulls back. Rolly's trying to get aggressive here. Rolly shoots a right hand, not quite there. And it's, once again, it's just crazy how Tank is controlling distance better considering he's the undersized fighter in this matchup. Tank L-stepping his way out, walking towards the power hand, obviously at an angle though, angling outward, not towards Rolly, but outward. You have to be very careful when you do that. Good counter left cross by Tank. And Rolly has abandoned, kind of cutting off the ring here because Tank is letting his hands go a little bit more. And Rolly has respect. Good jab, 1-2 by Tank. Now he's controlling the center of the ring. Look at all the real estate behind him and throws a beautiful overhand left. I like how he backed Rolly into a corner in the punch selection there. There was nowhere for Rolly to go. So Tank shoots a jab and then comes with the overhand left, lands it fairly nicely. And beautiful step back and counter with the left uppercut. Doesn't quite land flush by Tank, but I like the idea of it. He was getting backed into a corner. He steps back, changes it up, throws a left uppercut. It was a nice change up from the left crosses and the left hooks he's been throwing. Nice little setup there. Didn't quite make it, but you're not always going to hit the mark in this game. Rolly Romero half-stepping, shoots his right hand, getting reckless. You slowly start to see him turning into Rolly Romero, who likes to get his chin away from his toes and go throw punches off balance and wing them. You're starting to see it come back. Class tells over time. And you see Tank continuing to be Tank. Just because you have a few competitive rounds, you guys, doesn't necessarily mean you're outboxing your opponent. People will say, oh, Rolly was winning the first. Well, not necessarily. I didn't really see that. But even if you did think that, class tells over time. You have to be patient. The truth will come out, and high-level fighters will show why they're high-level fighters over 4 to 5, 6 rounds in a fight against certain opponents. Nice little catch and shoot by Tank. He caught the jab with the lead hand and then shot his own jab. Or he shot his own jab over the top. Nice left cross to the body to Rolly Romero. I got Tarzan over here, my little boy. Tank putting pressure, backing Rolly up into the corner. And then Tank willingly, I didn't understand that move. Ooh, good counter by Tank. He kind of put himself in a corner when he had the control, and beautiful once again walks Rolly into another left cross. And see, Rolly's getting anxious here. See, mentally he's not staying disciplined. He's starting to lose focus on what he needs to do in his game plan because he keeps on getting tagged with big shots. Unfortunately, Tank is a lot quicker, has better timing and better reaction than he does, and he's getting emotional. He may not look like it, but you can see it in his tactics that he's getting emotional. Good left cross to the body. Oh, nice little right hand and almost like a jab hook variation by Rolly right there. Tank getting hyped up right there. Almost gets caught off guard. Good reaction though, good defense. Tank trying to make his way back to the center of the ring because Rolly's getting very aggressive. But this shows there's so many different ways Tank can box. He can be the aggressor. He can be passive aggressive. So I am impressed. I wasn't buying into Tank as a complete fighter, but he's slowly getting there to where I'm almost convinced. It's just now it's a matter of seeing it against certain opponents. But I'm starting to see all the skill level there. changing up his guard. I like that he had his hands down for a little bit, kind of giving some variation there, a different look. Shoots that left cross. Rolly, that was like the best feint he did all night, ducking down. A little exchange here. Tank wraps up. I would like to see Tank kind of do more with these exchanges, let his hands go. Now, I understand that Rolly is, you know, a big puncher, so he had to be careful with exchange. And Rolly is willing to exchange with you because he is very reckless. And Tank very calm and composed. He knows he has control now, so he may settle down on the ropes in the corner. Hey, we got neighbors down there. Don't do that. And see what I mean? So Tank is starting to get a little bit more comfortable to where he's starting to sit on the ropes and in the corner willingly. You know, that's a bad sign for Rolly. It's a very bad sign for Rolly because now Tank feels like he's in complete control. Now he's starting to disrespect the power of Rolly, saying, I can take your best shot. A nice little overhand left, and then he immediately ties up and turns his back to the center of the ring. Now look at all the real estate he has to work with. He can reset on. He gets back to the center of the ring, and he starts doing work again. You can see Rolly trying to throw some feints with that duck, but it's not a really good feint. You should do more of a jab step. Rolly goes down to the body with the jab, not really being consistent. You're not seeing him go down and pot shot. Good counter by Tank. And Rolly comes back with a good counter himself, right cross down to the body, a little bit low, below the belt. See, Rolly's just not doing anything different here. He's not changing it up. He's not throwing, you know, much variation in his punches. And now it's just predictable at this point. Now he's just reverting back to who he is ultimately now, coming forward and lunging with big shots. And this is just dangerous right here. Very dangerous what Rolly is doing. Tank gets back to the center. And, you know, I got to give Tank credit for not getting emotional in this fight, because sometimes your emotions can get the best of you. You don't like your opponent. You have a little rivalry and you get pulled out of your game plan and strategy. But Tank understands, I need to, even though Rolly's not as skilled as me, he can crack. And I don't want to get caught slipping. Maybe I shouldn't exchange tit for tat, punch for punch, because I can get caught against this guy. I'm going to wear him down. I'm going to be patient. I'm going to walk him into a big shot eventually, and I'm going to take control. Good feints by Tank. Good left cross to the body. Those pot shots, those left crosses to the body are eating Rolly up. Good by Rolly, and boom, right there. Right there. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful left hand by Tank. You know, he triggers Rolly, catches him with a left cross to the body, hits him with one shot, and then walks. Rolly being aggressive and emotional and reverting back to who he is, he walks himself into a big left hand against Tank, and while Tank is back to the ropes, is very impressive. He pivots out and uses Rolly's momentum against him to exponentially increase the punching power that he has, and that you just don't stand a chance, especially if he's using your momentum against you and he's walking you into that shot with the power and the speed and the timing that he already has. So very impressive performance by Tank. I know a lot of people are critical of the opposition, and, you know, obviously I want to see Tank against guys like Shakur or, you know, Lomachenko or Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia. Obviously, I mean, we want to see this, but boxing is where it is. I mean, we might not even get Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence. But just on a technical level, I like what I see. You know, when we talk about the four horsemen or whatever, the five, I don't know, whatever it is, Lomachenko, Shakur, Haney, Tank, and all these guys, Ryan Garcia. To me, the only complete fighter, in my opinion, is Vasily Lomachenko. Now, I know a lot of casual fans or a lot of fans that are just kind of black and white the way they view things in boxing. They'll say, how is Lomachenko a complete fighter? He's not even undefeated. First, I don't care about undefeated records. You know, Lomachenko has an impressive resume, and he's been fighting good opposition. And when I see him fight, he is a complete fighter, okay? He can do it all from inside to outside. to mid-range to pocket, multiple combinations. He can do it all, okay? And just because he's lost 2 fights, one to Orlando Salido, which was very questionable, and lost to Teofimo Lopez, who people are just disposing of after one loss to, Kambosos, who caught him slipping. I mean, I don't know. I don't get boxing fans, man. You can be a great fighter. Let me check this out real quick. Boom. Beautiful. Ducks out, pivots out, game over, go to sleep. Almost fell through the damn ring. Yeah, but, Lomachenko's a complete fighter. Just because he gets beat doesn't mean he's not a complete fighter. I always say this. Ali took losses. Joe Frazier took losses. Foreman took losses. Are they garbage fighters? What is up with this Mayweather standard we adopted nowadays to where you have to be undefeated to be a great fighter? I disagree. Lomachenko's still a threat. Lomachenko can beat any of those guys. Now, obviously, I think his toughest matchups would be Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney, just because they like to fight long, rangy. They both have good jabs. But I honestly still think Lomachenko can beat all of those guys. I'm not saying he does, but he has the potential to beat all those guys compared to the other ones. I don't know if I can say Garcia can beat all those guys, or Tank can beat all these guys, or maybe Shakur is the only other one. Shakur's the only other one. Haney, I've seen some questionable things with Haney, but I really believe that Lomachenko's a complete fighter. I think Shakur Stevenson, I don't know if I think he is a complete fighter, but I think he's so talented physically and athletically that he doesn't really need to be a complete fighter in a lot of ways. He can really execute a few things and win most of his fights. But, Tank, I'm starting to see a complete fighter. Now it's just a matter of, let's see it up against some better opposition, and then we can be fully convinced. But the skill set's definitely there, but I would love to see him in a fight with Lomachenko. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but that would definitely be a good test for him. His southpaw advantage would disappear because they're both southpaws. And I think Lomachenko is a very slick fighter. He knows how to go in and out, and I would like to see how Tank deals with so many different elements of boxing at once. But I'm tied up here. Make some more videos soon. It's your boy Havoc Final Round. Get at me. Raleigh versus Tank. Great fight, great performance by Tank. And hell, I give Raleigh some credit. I like to see him come back. He's a funny dude to watch. We shouldn't dispose of him just because he lost. He might be a lot better than we think. Tank's a really good, a lot of people consider him a pound-for-pound great fighter right now. So no shame in losing to Tank Davis. So hopefully we see him back on the scene talking crazy again, because it's very funny to watch. So comment down below, like the video if you want to see me break down a fight. Put it down in the comment section below. It's your boy Havoc. If you're new, subscribe. You know what it is. Peace.